What's up, everyone? My name is Morcie, and if you're new to this channel, I help others step out of the mind and into the present moment. I share spiritual insight about experiencing the joy of being, conscious manifestation, all of that good, feel-good stuff to help you remember who you are. As you can see today, I'm in this beautiful spot. I'm out in nature, I'm feeling grateful. The vibe is right. I'm feeling at peace. And so, it's perfect because today's topic on this video is recognizing peace amongst the chaos. Recognizing peace amongst chaos, you know? This can be within your individual life. This can be how you feel maybe affected by current events within your country, within your state, whatever it might be. How can you recognize peace amongst the chaos? And notice how I say recognize. That is because peace is always accessible to us. Peace is always here. You just have to stop for a second and recognize that stillness, the awareness, who you are, awareness, fundamentally at your core, awareness. Peace is not something that is gifted to you by the world. Peace is something you actively choose. When you sit back, recognize how anytime you are faced with conflict, right? Shift your state of consciousness, shift your perspective, and see it as this. It's actually you versus you, not you versus anyone else. Your experiences, your world is a reflection of your state of consciousness. That person that you might feel frustrated by, what you're frustrated by is your expectation of that person. Your expectation how a certain event should go, rather than accepting it as it is, accepting the event as it is, accepting the person as it is. That'll knock you off your feet. That'll make you forget how to recognize peace. Peace is always accessible. You actively choose it. You ask yourself, how will I respond? How will I respond when I am challenged? What does peace look like to me in my mind? I think about the current events that are going on right now, right? It's 2022, okay? I don't have to get so specific. We all know what's happening. And one thing that has kept me in a state of peace is not following mass consensus. You ever heard the phrase, don't follow the crowd because the crowd is lost? Let me tell you, the crowd is lost. Don't follow the crowd. This is why being in the state of solitude is so important, right? So you are no longer submerged, and you're no longer absorbing the input of others. You have the space to sit back and ask the questions that arise in your mind. You create your own opinion, your own mental position. Instead of trying to follow along what others are saying, you know, just because your neighbor fears something doesn't mean that you have to fear something either. Especially if you don't want to fear. That's your inner self. Your inner self is telling you you don't need to fear. And I know it could be so confusing because what you physically see around you is chaos. Fear-based programming. That's what I call it, fear-based programming. That's what we see. And then on the inside, you sit back in stillness and your inner self is like, no. You don't have to fear. Be still. Be still so you can recognize who you are. Recognize that you are beyond the laws of the world, right? You are beyond that. You can transcend that. Sometimes when I think back at history, right? History. I realize that what's happening now is very much a mirror of what's happened in the past. There was the Great Depression, there was the market crash, and just all of these things that knocked society off their feet, took everyone by surprise. It was so unexpected. Just like now, even then, there was groups of people who didn't like each other. Same thing's happening now. History just repeats itself. It repeats itself. When are you going to choose to stay at peace? When are you going to actively choose peace? Because based on history, based on current events, the world is not going to gift you peace. You have to choose it. You have to say, I want it. You'll be waiting forever for it. Society is always going through periods of progression and regression, just like in individual lives. If you just step back and you look at history, you look at now, you just compare. Society is always moving. The collective unconsciousness is always moving. You know, growth isn't linear. So how do you stay still? You choose it. You can do it right now. No person has to tell you when. No event has to give you the say-so. You choose it now. When you choose peace, you allow yourself, you clear the channels within your mind, and you clear the channels within you, and you allow yourself to connect with infinite intelligence, consciousness. You free yourself from what may appear and seem like this mental slavery. This is why I like to encourage observing thought, observing the mind. So you can be aware of the ideas, the thoughts that are flowing through your mind. So you can step back and say, whoa, I don't like how that thought makes me feel. I don't like how I react, how I respond when I think of that thought. I don't like the actions that I take when I give that thought attention, when I give that thought energy. So I'm going to observe the mind so I can transcend that, be aware of that. This is when you start, you understand and recognizing peace. Ultimately, what I'm sharing with you today is that chaos is inevitable. It is inevitable. As much as you want to stop it, recognize that the universe has its own perfect. It has its own way that events occur in other countries, in other dimensions, in other galaxies that affect us here. Either way, we don't have control over that, but what we do have control over is our peace. We have control over our state of mind, our state of being. Allow the universe to do what it has to do. Think about in your own life when chaos happens. We're having you have a tower moment. Everything seems to be just collapsing. Everything seems to be ruined. But in actuality, it's just making space for something new. Take yourself out in nature. Be in silence. Listen to the crickets. That's what I hear right now, the crickets. You recognize the isness of the moment. What is, right? What is when you're at a vantage point where you see what's happening, just the happenings without the judgment, without the good or bad. Duality just becomes one. It becomes what it is. Sometimes, when you choose peace, someone who is in a state of fear might call you selfish. They might call you selfish because you're not afraid like them. You're not impulsive like them. You're not blindly following so-called authority like them. You're in a place of stillness where you can listen to your inner guide. You know you don't have to fear. You know you don't have to panic. You know that you trust yourself. You trust your own direction. You trust your own authority. But they'll call you selfish because they don't understand. You're too high up. You're too high up on a state of consciousness. They don't understand. It's okay. You're not selfish. Here's the thing. You can clearly see. And when I say clearly see, it doesn't mean you're perfect. Okay? It means that you are not allowing these low vibrational emotions to distort your perception of reality. When you act in fear, when someone acts in fear, they don't act like themselves. They make choices that don't represent who they actually are. Your peace, it might be a threat in a way, but it's okay. You stay grounded. You are presence, right? You allow presence to guide you. Sometimes all you could do is laugh. All you can do is smile. Because it's like, you got it. I got it. Once you feel that state of peace, it's like, I got it. I see the chaos, but I know I don't have to get involved. And then if you feel called to do something, to take action. You take action from that place of peace. Rather taking action from a place of fear, right? If you're watching this, right, you probably feel like you have some sort of purpose. And even if you don't feel it, you want to recognize that purpose. Either way, you might look at the world and you might say, how can I help? You help the world by helping yourself first. Help yourself first. When you heal yourself, you heal others too. And this is why it's so important to recognize peace, to rise above collective unconsciousness, so you can be a part of aiding others, aiding the people around you to heal, to step into the present moment. Whatever it is that you feel your purpose is to do. If I wasn't in a state of peace, I couldn't make this video right now. I couldn't have this page right now. I wouldn't have trekked 2 miles to come out here in nature and make this video, to share this message with you. This message that's not just me, but it's being delivered to me through consciousness. If I wasn't still, I wouldn't have been able to even hear this stuff, to share this stuff. When you heal yourself, you heal others too. There's a lot of love bugs out here. Be sure, if you ever want to be in a state of peace, observe thought, observe emotions, do sign up for my guided meditation. Because that right there, it will help to show you how to improve your relationship with thought. My name is Morcie. As always, live in a state of gratitude.